Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you might be watching this broadcast. I appreciate you being here and sharing this time with me. Today's broadcast is a broadcast that I call Thrive Time Thursday. Now, Thrive Time Thursday is really all about those businesses or those people who are thriving during these weird times that we're going through. Now, so we're going to dive in and we're going to talk a little bit more to my good friend, Fred Longmore. And I will introduce him in just a few minutes. We'll share more information about him and who he is. And we're going to dive into his background a little bit and that kind of stuff. Now, whatever platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook, make sure that you either like, subscribe, join, what the heck do they all call it? Connect, follow, all of those, just whatever it is on that platform that you're on, make sure that you do that so that you can catch any of the future broadcasts as well. I would appreciate that. Now, I'll give you a couple of little tips for you here is that the simple follow-up solutions. So let's say that you are a business networker. You're a networker. You go to a lot of these networking meetings on Zoom, and then you find it difficult to deal with that chat, all the information in chat, and then following up with people. This is a tool that can help you with that. It'll help you make it a little bit easier to follow up with people. And it's a simple process. I'm simply using Gmail, Google Sheets, and a little known tool that's out there that allows you to merge personal data over into your Gmail messages, but your email is not coming from Gmail. It's coming from your business email account. So it's a slick little tool that can help you with following up with people and being more consistent in your marketing and so forth. Now, let's talk a little bit about my guest speaker for today. It is Fred Longmore. I've known Fred for, I think now more than 30 years. It's something like that. It's been a really long time. Maybe it's 25 years, whatever. And I've worked for Fred and I have worked with Fred in a couple of businesses. And one of the things that I admire most about Fred is throughout time, he has been extremely consistent with his earnings. He's been consistent in terms of who he is. He's been such a consistent person over all of these years. And we actually went to play golf this past weekend. And well, I use the word play loosely as far as I'm concerned. I go out and I hit golf balls and have fun with it. But we were talking and it dawned on me that he would be a perfect guest for my Thrive Time Thursday. And the reason for that is because not only is his business, are they succeeding through this pandemic, but in some instances, they're having record months through this pandemic. And Fred is having record months with his success with this company through this pandemic. And I just thought it would be amazing for him to come on a little bit and to talk about his story, who he is, how is it that he is being able to succeed during this pandemic time. So Fred, welcome to Stan Shields' Thrive Time Thursday edition on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So how are you this morning?
Oh, well, I'm doing great, but I wish my wife was here to see me be that quiet for that long and let another human speak. It's in proximity to me because I'm a blabbermouth. I talk a lot and I'm outgoing. She's quiet, and she would have been impressed that I just let you go on and on about what you wanted to say and not just say what I wanted to say. So I'm happy to be here. I'm in Sin City. I got this crazy picture behind me on my wall of some wonderful colors with a hidden pig dog in the middle of it. I look a little tired. Too bad. I've been here days, and we did have a lot of fun playing golf. I've known Stan for at least 30 years, and he's been a great guy, and he is a technical wizard and knows so much more about Facebook and these things and all that. So listen to Stan for how to market your business, and listen to me how to get customers, to get them in, to sell them, that's what I've been doing for a while. I don't know if you want me to tell my story right
Well,
now for a minute.
so yeah, I mean, that is the thing right there. And that was the thing that hit me, that I said, wait a minute, I want to talk to Fred on my Thrive Time Thursday show, because that's something that, and I threw this word at you last night, because I said, what would you attribute your key to success? And you named a whole bunch of things. In fact, you went through a whole bunch of these C's that we're going to talk about here. Your C's, like it's like this big long string of C's.
I say
But
see your customer, but it's a bunch of C's. I like that.
right. But it was the one of those things was the consistency, right? And what I've seen over the years with, through working with you, but also just being your friend and seeing what's been happening over these years, is that you're a master at getting customers and keeping these customers and thriving through, regardless of what's going on in the world. I mean, there's all kinds of ups and downs that we've had over this 30 years.
Right.
But you've just always been very consistent with what you're doing. So I wanted you to share some of that. What are these C's? I mean, how is it that you managed to stay so consistent over this time?
Let me dive in, and I'll give you a finish of my bio for 30 seconds. Through college and after college for a bit, worked at UPS till I was 24. Put myself through college, wife, 4 kids, long story, won't go there. And then at 24, 40 years ago, I got into selling copiers, one of the hardest businesses in the world. Thrown in, friend of mine hired me, said, hey, you talk a lot, come over here, see what happens. And during that period, in the first year, I became the manager already because I was good at it. So I was selling and managing. Then I became a partner in 2 years. I was managing, selling, owning, running, and doing well at this copier company. I was happily surprised. We built up over time, me and my partners, 5 companies. We sold them all to a big company. I work there now, and I've circled back from managing, selling, training, and then traveling the world, doing seminars to tell people how to sell and how to get customers. And I'm 63 now, and I decided, you know what? I'll work for this big company that bought all my companies. Yeah, I'm a hundredaire. I can spend $100 whenever I want. Don't have to ask my wife. My wife now is a professional gambler. That's my testimony to success. She's a professional poker player, and I'm okay with that. She decided, hey, I'm gonna do this. I love poker. Been doing it for years. That's how we met. And so instead of pursuing full-time her real estate career, she wants to play poker, and she's doing fine at it. And we come to Vegas a few times. But I am day to day right now, 10 hours a day, still selling copiers. You know why? Because I love it. I love people. I'm good at it. So I sold, managed, trained, seminar. Now I'm selling just like you are, finding customers, because that's what I want to do in the next 5-10 years. I don't know that I'll ever retire, but we'll see. And so I want to teach you and tell you folks how to see your customer. And it's not SEE, it's CCCCC. C. It's a lot of C's. Stan was making fun of me. So Candyland's over. Kiddie pool's down the road. Time to listen well, whether you're watching this live or later on, because I'm going to blast you with information, and you might have to go back, because I will talk like a fire hose, and you'll be trying to drink those messages in like a fire hose, and you're going to get all wet a bit, might get your eye poked out, who knows. But listen fast and carefully, and I think you'll like what I have to say. So my C's, there's 5 C's. The first one is contact. I learned that early on, back when I was using just a landline connected phone, and I had little 3x5 cards I wrote people's names and information on, and I had my little file box and all that. Old guy salesman will remember those days. But you've got to contact them. My secret weapon has been for 40 years telemarketing. Now, I hate telemarketing. I hate getting calls at night. This is business marketing during the day. But I would hire people and have them call, because I just couldn't do those first level calls all the time while I was selling and doing other stuff. And the people you want to hire, this is a big thing for me, is I call them the 9 to 3ers. They are typically retired females mostly, but I'm not going to be gender specific, but people who maybe are retired, or their moms where their kids go off to school, or dads where their kids go off to school, and they are the primary person, and they've got about 9 to 3 before they pick these kids up, but they are savvy. They were either smart, or they are smart, or they're geniuses, or they worked hard. These are good eloquent people that talk fine on the phone, and because I don't like getting telemarketing from offshore, I'm not going to slam that, but these people would call and ask a few set of simple questions. They were personal, they get information. I would see in the information if there was opportunity, and then I would follow up and call back. So today with Stan and the people that are so much smarter than me and all this stuff, you can contact them through email. And I do a ton of email marketing with signatures in there that I craft that are popped in there. You can contact them through LinkedIn, you can Twitter, you can blogs, websites. You have got to contact as many people as possible and get information on them, likely suspects or prospects for your type of business, whatever it is. So if you're not contacting enough people, you're failing already. And that's where the law of hard work and consistency is going to come in. I'll talk about consistency a little bit. So that makes sense.
So now,
you gotta get out there and talk to people, businesses, whoever is going to be the people that can buy your products.
All right. So now, before you dive into the next thing here, let's talk about that for a second, because there's a lot of people that will say telemarketing is dead, or calling people on the phone is dead. It's useless because very few people answer their phones, and very few people, or many people, will not answer their phone if they don't know who your name is that shows up on their screen. So what's your take on that? I have a few different thoughts on that, but what's your take on that?
We can talk about that for a half hour, and that is great, because you are so right, especially at home. I have my Google Pixel 3 already has built-in software with it. It filters out spam. It says this is spam. I hit a button, it reads them a message if they don't leave a message. So it is not going to work, and it is dead in a lot of things. I think home-to-home calling, telemarketing is tough. Everyone says direct mail is dead too, right? You don't like that. Yeah. You know what you get a lot of still? Direct mail. And telemarketing.
That's right.
You know why these people are spending billions at it? Because who knows why? It works. There are a certain type of people that it's working, and they wouldn't spend this money. I wouldn't get 50 telemarketing calls a night if not 1 out of 10 of the people were still answering and buying whatever that stuff they were going to talk to me. I didn't talk to them about. But this is different. It's business calling. If someone's in business, they usually, and for me, if they're a copier company, they're not one person in their home selling stuff online. They got an office. They need office solutions because we moved into technology, of course. We don't just be stagnant. So they got somebody answering the phone, and they're going to answer it, and you've got a few seconds. So you've got to be good at telemarketing. So I have trained massive amounts of telemarketing. I trained accountants how to hire telemarketers, and then me and my partner trained them in the seminar business we're doing how to telemarket it. So it's wildly successful for me forever. Is it harder now? Yes. Is it dead? No, especially business to business. So if you're not selling business to business, or if you don't have a great person telemarketing, that's why you can't just have anybody. You're going to have struggle. But I also am way big on voicemail marketing. When I call some people and I got their voicemail, they didn't answer. I fancy myself. My wife's not in this room, thank God, at our hotel. I fancy myself funny and interesting, and I can grab people's attention, and I can get people's attention, and I get people to call me back a lot. I can write scripts and do all that stuff. We're not going to do that, but I can do that for you. Stan can do that for you. I can help him. You could hire Stan, and me and him would write scripts, hire telemarketers, whatever you want to do. We can get the business. So telemarketing is good. Direct mail, I hate it, but there's billions of it coming, so it is working somehow. I've never been a big fan of done direct mail. Email marketing is huge. I send email, people look at them and they laugh, and they say, "Huh, that is crazy. I might call that guy back." If they haven't called me for a while, copiers, I send them my sob sniffle whine email. You might write that down. You can make your own. Say, "Hey Mary, you haven't called me back or replied to my email. What's the fella to sing?"
That's right.
Wine. No long walks on the beach. And she's like, "Who is this guy? I don't even what." And she goes to the body of my email, see, who am I even? Oh, this is the copier guy. Oh, this is the guy. He's my this is Fred who sells me copy, or Fred who wants. And then in there, I say, "Well, I know what you're doing. You're busy. You're not going to read everybody's dang email." I talked to them like they were sitting next to me, and they were my best friend in an email. So I still believe strongly in telemarketing, and I do calling myself, and I call up and I get people's attention, and I'm interesting. And that's one of my C's is how to do this kind of stuff. So Can I move to the next one? Or you
So
want to talk more?
no, because I want to I just want to make sure that we capture the major point right here. Number one, B2B calling is going to be very different than B2C calling. And so B2B calling means you're going to have many more people that are going to answer the phones, and you do have a few seconds. And so you really do have to get good at really handling those, or getting that person to like you enough to listen a little bit more, not just blowing you off, right? And so, and so that was one of those key points I think that's in there. But then gosh, you said something else, and I totally forgot what it was. Oh, the voice messages. If you are calling B2C, then it's a matter of actually taking some time and creating clever voicemail messages that you can leave that then potentially gets the person to call you back.
Yep, we're going to talk a little bit about that later. And that is, you really are summing up. And I stopped when I first started Copiers, it was in-person cold calling. You know what people are still doing massively today at the big company I'm working at, 450 people, 100 sales. They are going in-person sales today with mask on. They are out there, and that works. I hated it. I stopped doing it. I was really good at it. But you see it when you're outside. I mean, I got to tell you, when I'm outside, I can't imagine why these people come around, but they do, and it must be working. They wouldn't do it. They're selling windows, or they're selling paint, and they're wandering around with their little clipboard and say, "Hey, can I have a minute?" And they start talking to me, and my wife comes out and she crushes them and sends them away because she's mean. And I'll talk to them. They'll buy. I'm the guy that they can sell, but she knows she comes and steals me from them, and she manages property, so she has kind of she doesn't. So these guys will come around, and why are they in my upper crust neighborhood with $1 million homes? 2 million across the park for me at the real big homes, and they're wandering around. How brave are they, I say? And that's why I give them time, because I've been there. And they're out there, and they've got to be selling some measure of the windows. And there's a windows guy came by the other day, and the painting and this. They got to be selling that, or they wouldn't keep doing it. You wouldn't keep doing something that doesn't work. So you got to contact them. I don't care how you contact them. If you want on-the-spot training, Stan or I will give it to you. I will help Stan because he's one of my best lifelong friends. Even if I didn't get paid for it, just to help him, I would help him train you if you were his customer. Whatever, we'll figure that out. But let's move to the next.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
The first C's. I got, like, after the C's, I have bonus. I have 500 things I could tell you people that you would love to hear, and you'd love to hear them. Maybe not just because I'm saying them, but I'm going to ramp up, by the way. Most people talk 250 words a minute, and you get bored and you're tired at a seminar. I talk 700 to 800. I might gust to 900. So be ready, because there's going to be information coming. Because I want to tell you more than you can probably even hear or digest. It's like a fire hose drinking from it. Let me slow down. Let me calm down, Stan. I haven't even had my coffee. This is crazy. The next thing in the C's, there's 5 C's. You want to capture them. That's easy. Everywhere today, there's free software and database management. I was one of the first people ever to start 35 years ago with Telemagic DOS software. DOS. Nobody even remembers DOS. And so you got to capture them. Everything that's normal, name, this, that. Well, but then the abnormal stuff too. You got to build a database. You got to maintain it, and you got to groom it, and you've got to have things in there that are key and triggers to you to know of what was really said, who you were talking to, who they were, why they might want to talk to you again, and ruling people out. You capture them, and then you put in there, don't call, so that the next time in your database, people say, yeah, this guy's a big jerk, or whatever. So you got to capture it. Stan, you probably know better and can tell them how to do that ad nauseum. What a good word. It came to me. You can tell them that. All right. You can tell them how to capture and track and get that data in there to manage the data, right? That's not hard anymore. Make sense?
No, you're right. There are tons of tools that are out there for that. And that is one of the things that I will help people set up, is a database that will allow you to capture, track, and email to them and all of that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you do that. I did it with Telemagic DOS, and then I got ACT back in the day. Then I built a custom, put $100,000 into it, database through, of all things, Microsoft Outlook, the $190 program you get with Microsoft Outlook to it. I had a developer build that into a $100,000 program, and it was wonderful. But right now they use Sales Logic at the company I'm at, and they use all kinds of things. Find one, get it. Stan will help you. Next C, is Stan's been talking about me. I'm talking to you about you. Consistently touch them. And you got to touch them. I shouldn't say that. Touch them in a good way, business-wise, with a variety of methods, and not just in moments of crisis or buying, and not boring. You've got to be different. We're going to talk about that next. The next one's creativity, but I'm backing it up to consistently touch them, and not just when you need them, not just when they're buying. You want them to know you a little bit, think about you a little bit, like you a little bit, and not in those exact. Accountants are so bad at this. They only deal with you, right, when you're filing your taxes and dealing with the IRS, and you're dealing with them, accountants, two horrid groups of people and organizations to deal with, right? Right, Stan?
That's right.
That's the only time you see your accountant is when you hate him and you hate somebody else that he has to help you deal with. And
Right.
you're not at your best. You're all mad and crazy and think he's all tired. He hadn't brushed his teeth, or she, and she's all messy, and she's like, she's grouchy. Everybody's grouchy. And then you don't talk to him for the next year, and you think, man, I need somebody nicer than that accountant, because he didn't talk to you for a year. He didn't touch you. It's insane. Story. I have stories you're going to listen to. I don't care. I'll waste your
So
time.
before you go into that story, let's just say this. There's one of the things that I say to people all the time is that, there's really 2% of sales made on the first visit.
Oh, yeah.
3% of sales made on that second visit. 4% on the third. 5% somewhere between that first and fourth touch, but 80% of sales come somewhere between the 5th and the 20th touch.
Exactly. Got to touch them. That was the first part. Consistently touch them with a variety. Next C will be creativity. But I learn and I teach by stories. Best guy on the planet, told the most stories ever, had a whole book written about him. He was amazing. Jesus, right? Did you get that? He told his stories, a parable. I'm not saying whether or not you believe or whatever. I'm just saying it was amazing. Someone asked him a question, he'd tell him a 40-minute story. But I learned by observation and stories, and you can cement with your customers by analogies, acronyms, and stories. I love those. And this is one of the things. I was in Australia. I've been to like 10 countries, Australia, Vietnam. My wife and I traveled. Anyway, long story short, we were diving with this diver gal and this microbiologist in Australia. Paid a lot of money. We're going down. We go down under the water. We see things. We touch things. The best thing ever. I go down there, and we're down for like half hour. We come and we talk to the lady. She tells us what we saw. This giant cucumber, what it is, whatever. I'm down there. There's these whole school of fish. They're swimming around crazy, and they're it's like a big commotion. So they're like, whack, 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 battle. And this one fish keeps whacking all the other fish and smacking them and hitting them with his face like flipper. And there's a big commotion. He beats the crap out of them every 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell? And so we get up. I asked the lady, I say, hey, what were those fish? She goes, they're some fish like Australian clownfish. I don't know. And I said, why is that one whacking him? She said, well, that one fish is the leader of the group. And that's a female. She's a bigger, stronger, crazier fish. And most of the rest are males. All of them, actually. So she has to whack them every few minutes to get them into mess them up, and she protects them, by the way. But if she doesn't kind of whack them and get them all dangerous, the big, stronger one will change its sex and then take over the pack and leave. So if she's killed, the next in line will double its size and change its organs, physically, its sex, and take over the pack. Isn't that crazy? And the point is she had to agitate them in times of non-crisis, or they would go away. And my wife, she goes, wow, that's why I'm always bugging you and whacking you. I don't want you to turn to the dark side of the force. And so you got to agitate your fish when it's not crisis to keep them in the fold and there. So that story hit me. It was like, oh, I need to talk to my customers all the time so they don't turn to the dark side and leave me. And did you like this story, Stan, or was that a little off?
No, that's good.
It's a great story, and it's a true story. And let's go to creativity, and then I'm going to go to charisma. We'll be done with the C's. I think we might even get near through the C's because I'm going to ramp up, talk faster. And jump in whenever you want, Stan. I wish this was a forum where we're in a seminar like normal. I could throw things at walls. People could ask me questions. One day we'll be able to do that again. Stan will hand me out for a seminar and invite all his buddies. I used to do seminars to 1,000 accountants and teach them how to sell. It was the most caustic cross-selling for me ever. A group of people that didn't want me, didn't like me, want there to get their continuing education credits. And then I would teach them how to sell for 4 hours. And then each of them, not each of them, a lot of them would give me $20,000 to buy the guy who hired me program to sell in database and marketing. They would invest at the end $20,000 because of what I told them for 4 hours. I'm going to tell you stuff for 30 minutes. You're not going to have to invest anything. You're going to get some great info and move on. Maybe Stan will help you later. Maybe I'll help him. Who cares? Just listen. So when you're touching these people, you got to, the fourth C, if you write any of the C's, is creativity. Oh my God. You got to avoid boring, tired, run of the mill. Maybe you want to do some value add and info knowledge. You just got to be flamboyant. I bet Z's watching, right, Stan?
I don't know.
No, she should have been. Anyway, all the people, and I'm gonna talk into what people really want a little bit later, but I'll talk about it now. You don't run into, most of you folks out there watching me, you don't run into movies anymore that are black and white documentaries. Pay $20 each, get your thing, and sit there and watch somebody talk for hours about intellectual information at a theater, right? No, you don't. Don't lie. Everybody wants to see comedies, action comedies, romantic comedies. Everybody wants fun and laughter and excitement. That's what they want in their movies, their lives, their wives, their friends, right, Stan?
That's right.
They don't want us boring, dull. Now, there's got to be boring, dull people out there. I love some of them. They're the salt of the earth. They're the best people do business, and you need them. But I'm not mad at them. But there's not, most of them, the friends you want to go hang out with, are going to yell when they hit a great shot at golf, or they're going to have fun, or they entertain you, or they're interesting in one way. Maybe you are interesting intellectual and you want friends. That's great. But you need to be creative, and you can't be normal. So as you're developing the consistent touches, first you contact them, capture that, consistently touch them. While you're doing it, use creativity. Everybody, I mean, the ads you don't even know what the ad was about half the time at the end, till the end, or even then. You just know somewhere somebody drank some alcohol, maybe sex happened nearby on this ad, and then at the end it's about jeans, right? You're like, what? Right? I mean, they are trying to capture you and do it creativity and say, oh, okay, oh, yeah. What's the guy? Who's the best looking man on the planet that was in that show? He sang "Shallow" with that lady. Oh my God, A Star Is Born. Every woman knows him right now. His name, I can't come up with it. But he has the commercials on TV, and he's just so good looking, and he's just so well known. He sits in his Buick, drives out on the thing, he ice fishes, he listens to music, and it's all about Buick, and they don't even say a word about who he is or what he is. He's the most interesting young, voted best looking man of the year forever. I'll come up with his name before.
Matthew McConaughey?
Matthew McConaughey, yeah. They hired Matthew McConaughey because just looking at him, men and women both are excited, right? And he just exudes confidence, strength, pizzazz, and charisma. He doesn't even talk much in these commercials. He's just playing pool with somebody. They're all laughing. He makes a joke, and then they show you a Buick.
You know, and I didn't know who in the world you were talking about until you said the Buick. And then I went, oh, now I know who that is.
Yeah. Stan's probably never seen the remake of Star Is Born. You got to go see it. Got to watch him and that lady sing that song. Oh my God, she's one of the most flamboyant singers out there. But I'm thinking too fast to remember all her names. I'm glad you remembered him. I'll remember hers too. So creativity. Then we move to the last C, and then we'll talk about all these C's if you want, or we'll go to bonus information, or Stan will get to talk. I'll let him get a word in edgewise. But here we are. You've got to do it in your own way. You got to have charisma, and you got to do it in your way, and you must be genuine. I told a friend of Stan's yesterday, and that's why he asked me to talk about, oh my God, you think you have weaknesses, you think you have drawbacks, you think you can't do it, and you're worried, you're a little self-conscious or whatever, but who cares? Be yourself. You like yourself, you have to. If you don't, start with that. Forget all the C's and get back to loving and liking yourself and being confident. And then be genuine. Use what's unique about you. Make an attractive, flamboyant USP. That's a unique selling proposition. I did not invent that acronym. That was around well before, but I adopted it maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Somebody said it at a seminar. I've been to seminar speakers that don't even live today and walk on the planet, like Zig Ziglar and people like that, all kinds. I could name them. And but USP, get a unique selling proposition and put it in your emails, put it in your calls, put it in your talk track, put it on your letters. whatever you're going to do, you have to become who you are and share that with people and say, this is me. Take it or leave it. If they leave it, great, move on. Find people that are going to like you and are like you maybe. Maybe they're in your lane, and market to them. The lady I was talking to, Stan, is a real estate agent. I said, be yourself and find people like you. She speaks 4 languages, French, Moroccan, blah, blah. I said, oh, well, and Hispanic. I said, why don't you find people that speak those languages and you could kind of help them out and then have a niche business with them. But be yourself. So summing up the C's real quick, and we can talk about any you want. Contact them, then capture them, then consistently touch them. Use creativity doing it, and have charisma the whole while. Be genuine, be yourself. Develop a unique selling proposition. Stan, it is 10:31. What the heck do you think about that? I nailed it. Boom! A pitiful fool who tries to give talks.
Time goes fast, doesn't it? So there's a couple of things with, like, for creativity, for instance. You mentioned earlier direct mail. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think direct mail is dead. However, because a lot of people aren't using direct mail as much as they were, that direct mail actually gives you a new opportunity to be creative, especially if you do something different with it. If you use it in a way that maybe hasn't been used in your industry as much or something like that. And one of those, you talk about all those touches, the consistently touches, and I say 5 to 20 touches, it's where 80% of those sales are going to be made. And I didn't say that. There's a bunch of sales statistics that says that. I just keep repeating it. But the thing that's interesting with those touches is, you did touch on this, that those touches can not only be just picking up the phone and calling them. You don't want to necessarily always call them and say, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. How can you provide value to people over all of those touches? And what kind of cool gifts can you send them, which is in one of those ways that direct mail could be very useful. If you can be creative and come up with a gift that is unique, that will stand out, that will capture their attention, now you become top of mind for them. So using that creativity in those touches and so forth. The last thing I wanted to say was that with regard to charisma, is that one of the biggest challenges, I think, for a lot of people is feeling confident enough and comfortable enough to be themselves. And I'm one of those people that used to really worry about what people thought. And I would be concerned if somebody didn't like what it is that I'm doing. And what I've learned over these years is that there's always going to be those people that like you, and there's those people that don't like you. And so really you can't play or live to those people that don't like you. You just have to ignore those people and move on, and just recognize that not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody is going to agree with you. And just be yourself and put yourself out there, the willingness to put yourself out there.
Wow, you bring up so many things. My mind starts racing. I am an evil creative marketing genius. But exactly what you said, be yourself and be true to you. Today, in direct mail, I don't know how to teach you direct mail, but if it were me, my mail, the envelope would be the start. It would be, let's say, different colors would be yellow, and at the top would say mellow yellow mail. And I would just make that and say, you'll open it, you'll like it, I guarantee it. Then you can throw it away. Then it will say on the outside of the envelope. And they open it up, and then it'll be interesting and funny in there, whatever. Or let's say you were a Black-owned business, right? That's big right now, and then the whole thing is out there, and get a black envelope and put on it, black is back. And it's me. All right. That's funny. You like it. Black is back, and it's me. There's a ton of restaurants in Colorado that are promoting and helping, and there are all these black. We've been going to these restaurants, and it's the best thing ever. We're trying to help the community, help that during COVID, and they're open and outside. So people might like that. Just do it right. Orange one, orange. You glad you open this? Who knows? Be creative on the outside and get in and be creative and use what who you are, whether it be your gender, whether it be your race, whether it be your expertise or your likes or dislikes, and you're just funny. So
yeah. Now, so we are almost out of time here, but you had some other things to talk about, and one of the things that I'd like to hit this, if you can hang around and do this, is you've got your foolproof way of getting referrals, because getting referrals is extremely difficult for a lot of businesses. And so that would be fantastic if you can talk about that some.
Let me do that. If they can watch this over and over, I'm going to flood it out with the fire hose talk. But if they watch it over, they can tell why. I'll tell them why they don't get them, how to get them, and what to do. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
So, and I learned this by a story too. I'll tell you the story. That'll take 30 seconds, and I'll tell you the real stuff. So I'm really early in my career. I sell a copier. Guy loves me. I'm in his office. We're great. I know it's kind of the best time. I say, hey, I'd love some referrals. He goes, oh, I'll help you. That'd be great. They all say that, right? They're lying. And so I gave him like 6 business cards. I said, yeah, just hand these out to people and just tell them how great I did and how happy you are. Oh, great. So I go out. I'm leaving. I'm walking down on the sidewalk. He has a glass, like a window into him. I see him sitting there and he's picking his teeth with one of my business cards. He's like in between his teeth. I'm like, he's not going to do that. What a waste of my time. Those are expensive. I'm 25. I'm 25. And so I was really annoyed. And so I got good at getting referrals. Now, when you're selling them is the best time they like you. Typically, they just got the machine, or they got your stuff, or they moved in their move home and all that. And you send them a mail, they're going to throw it away. You need to ask them. You need to ask them point blank for referrals. And know that they're going to hate it. They don't want to give it to you. Why? Because they gave one to their insurance agent, and he called them in the middle of the night, and he stepped on their neck, and he made them embarrassed, and he was aggressive and mean and weird, right? Or whoever, not just insurance agent, but they are afraid. You got to ask them, got to know they're afraid, and you've got to dispel that fear. And none of this is written down, Stan. I've been doing this so long, it's in my head. So I'm asking you a referral. You just bought a copier. I say, Stan, I'd love to get the names of 5 people like you. They don't have to be buying. That's the other big thing right now. If I ask you, Stan, and you tell me, right, this question, do you know anybody needs dog grooming this minute? Yes or no?
No.
You know anybody buying a house this minute? Yes or no?
No.
No, maybe not. If I ask you 50 questions, then it's going to be no to 40. You don't know anybody right now buying a house. So people ask referrals, hey, do you know anybody I can sell a copy to? No, they don't know. They do know. So you ask them, you dispel the fear, you get logical names of people that might be interested or the same kind of people for your product, and then you explain to them how you're not going to step on their neck. So Stan does buy the copier. Say, Stan, I bet you know some people like you that have businesses or work at businesses or somehow in the position that they might select Office Solutions copiers for the company. I bet you have some people, in your friend base or business base that do that. Make sense?
Yep.
Oh, he says, yes, he knows some people. I said, here's what I'd love. I'd love to get their names and information, just their email for now. And don't freak out or worry. I'm not going to call them, step on their neck in the middle of the night, bother them, annoy them, bug them. I'm just going to send them a little bit about me, what we have, and I'm going to offer them something free because they know you if they'll just hear me out and if they end up getting a machine. So no negative feedback or grief will come from you giving me these names. I'm going to put them in my database, shoot them out some info. If they want something great. If not, it will end there. I will not hound and harass them. That seem fair?
Yep, that's fair.
So, that's it. And then you say, okay, let's write them down. Let's give it to you. And then you ask them a couple of times. Now, about half the people will give you them right there. About half the people, well, let's say quarter of the people. So half the rest of the people will give them to you some other way. And a quarter of the people will never give them to you. But you just asked and you did it better than anyone. And you let them know that you know the feeling that they have of fear and worry. Oh, I don't want my friends bugged. I don't want you calling them all this and that. And then, by the way, at the end, he's probably or she's probably, and I say, and we have a rewards program. If anyone comes aboard, we have great stuff, great free stuff. It's called Pick a Promo. I made all this up, by the way. This is just Fred stuff. And I do it all the time. I've given away 277 laptops, Stan, probably maybe 10 a year for the last 5 years. Before that, bunch of me and Rob McKinney would give away laptops. So I say, I'll send you the email about it, the referral program. So you send me those names. And if someone buys and it's a qualifying machine, you can pick a promo. Flat screen TV, laptop, iPad, cell phone, different things, different levels. So you'll get something for helping me.
Wow, that's pretty good. So now So let's highlight that again then. So one of the very first things is you asking, but number one, you got to ask for the referrals. But number two, you are alleviating their fears, because
Exactly.
their fear is going to be that I don't want you calling and harassing these people, right?
Yeah.
And so you're alleviating that fear, but you're also getting their buy-in, or their understanding, I guess, around it, that you're not going to harass these people, and you're getting them their buy-in of yeah, that's fair, that sounds fair.
Yeah, I tied them down at the end, and I haven't probably done this in, I don't know, a month or two, because I have more customers than I can sell. I'm not asking for referrals as much. I can barely keep selling the customers I have, because I get so many, and I get referrals organically. But exactly right. First, you ask, right, and you must ask with awareness of there's fear, and then you are not asking for someone who's buying right now. That's a big part. Don't forget that. You don't say,
Okay.
who do you know that's buying a copier? Right? In fact, the way I say it is, I say, Bill, you don't know anybody's buying a copier by any wild chance right now, right? He goes, no. So what if he did? He'd tell me that. I said, yeah, that's not who I'm after. If he did, he'd tell me, you don't know anybody buying a copy right this minute or looking for Bill. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I didn't think so. That's not what I'm after. Here's what I want: some names, some emails, maybe a phone number, and I'll get in touch with them. And I'm going to contact them with tact, and it's not going to go badly for you. Here, I'm not going to harass them. Then I give the whole speech I just gave you. You dispel the fear, and then you offer a reward. It's evil marketing science. It's Fred Alert. That's the name of this talk, by the way. I told Sam, this is a Fred Alert. To get out there and do something. Start now. Oh, who cares what you did yesterday? Who cares who you are and you're not that? Get yourself up. Get some confidence. Get some creativity. Get the C's. Let's start back with there. Start contacting people, capturing them, consistently touching them. Do it with creativity. Do it with charisma. And then if you ever get a customer, you know the secret of how to get referrals. And that is only mine. No one has ever laid that out. It'll probably be stolen. I invented things like the wall walker. Remember that little rubbery thing you threw on the wall stand and rolled down the wall?
Oh, yeah.
I invented that. Somebody else put it out, but I didn't market anything. My wife had put Jell-O left in the refrigerator for 9 months. Me and my buddy, we were in our 20s. We grabbed it and said, this stuff is crazy. It's like rubber. We threw it on the wall. We're stupid 20-year-old men, right? We don't know what we're doing. It walked down the wall. It was left. We played with it till it turned to mush for like hours. Me and this guy named Bob Crow. It was the funnest time ever. And I said, man, we could sell this stuff. How could we? I swear to God, like a year and a half later, wall walkers came out. People were throwing on the walls, paying millions.
And I think there's a lot of us that have had something like that, where we've had an idea.
Thought about it. Somebody invented it sooner or after. Somebody stole it from you. I don't know if Bob invented it, but maybe. So that was my extra bonus thing. I had 3 of them, but you got the best one. We don't need to go into it's what you say. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
The laws of Fred. I've got 20 laws I live by. My kids live by. My daughter does seminars in New York with little friends, little like group meetings, not really seminars. And she says, here's the laws of Fred of my dad, and tell them. And she gives them the laws. I'm going to tell you one anyway right now. Let me leave you with this. The law of contrast, just so you feel better about the COVID, the trouble, the hassle, the down, and everything else. Everybody needs to know the law of contrast. It's huge. I kind of modified and stole it from Tony Robbins like 30 years ago, but it has saved my life. The law of contrast says, look out there and see people who are worse off. They're suffering. They had maybe someone they know died of COVID, or they don't make any money. They lost their jobs. They are in much worse shape than you. And it's okay for a moment to feel better about that and say, wow, I'm glad that's not me. That's a law of contrast. Contrast yourself to someone worse off. Now, it has to be followed by the law of giving and the law of joy. So then you say, I'm way better off than them. Even if I'm in trouble, how can I help them or help someone? And so help them if you can after you contrasted them, and then you'll know the true meaning and feeling of joy. You contrast yourself to others that are worse off. Then you put my other second law, by the way, the law of giving, into play by helping them and knowing the true meaning of joy. And that's what I have done consistently, besides selling and marketing and hopefully being a good dad and good granddad. We got 10 grandkids. Is try to feel better about myself organically, but also say, hey, there's so many people worse off. Man, I'm okay. I'm okay. And now, how can I go help that person or that person or that person? Typically, I have hundreds of family members, and a lot of them are wildos and weirdos, and they, make mistakes like humans, and I help them. So, giving is living. Law of contrast, giving is living, help others. You'll know the true meaning of joy.
Wow. Very good. Thank you very much. That was amazing.
That's good. I was happy with this. I was Stan just told me about this last night. This is just me off the cuff with some random stuff that has helped me immensely. And it's funny because I had a lot of work to do last night. Stan, I'm going to leave you with this. My wife's probably hearing me in the other room. And I said, I can't mess around with you tomorrow. I can't show shopping and I can't do this because I got to do all this work at the office. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm working. And so she came home and I had 2 beers and I had wrote down these things that I would ready because I wanted to tell whoever's going to see this. I don't care if it's 3 people, 30 people, or it goes viral and 1 million people see it on YouTube. I want to tell them how to help them. I think I might have just helped people. I might have just secretly, without knowing it, and put off something I really had to do, other stuff. And she's going to say, yeah, you should have done that. I put up other stuff because I thought this might help people. And Stan, that's why you do this. You do this to help people. Now you need to make a business about it. You should get paid. You're a genius. I gotta put my hand up and say, Stan is the man. There it is, right in the picture. And hire him to do whatever even if he doesn't know how to do it, he'll figure it out. And if he doesn't know how to do it in the arena of marketing, I will figure it out and help him because giving is living.
Giving is living. All right. Very good. Well, thank you very much. We are definitely beyond our time slot that we were going to do there, but this was good stuff. So it was absolutely worth it to continue on and to hear all of these words of wisdom and whatnot. So let's see here. The final thing is once again, we're on 3 different platforms right now. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Make sure you like, follow, whatever it is, all of those things that you do to see when there's another broadcast coming up for our show. And then come join me for the next broadcast. And so it's typically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when I'm going to be doing a broadcast. And next Tuesday will be a tooltip Tuesday. We'll be talking about a business tool that can help you move your business forward. So come join me for that. And with that, Fred, any final thing you want to say? We're going to hit the end broadcast button.
Yeah, we'll get through COVID. We're going to get through next year. And I got a suspicion I'll be out here next year doing a seminar. And you talk to Stan, he'll get you some discounts or, good tickets. He'll get you in that seminar. Then you'll see for an hour or 2 or 3, whatever he wants to do, some really high level stuff. And you'll get to see me break boards, do nunchucks, throw things at walls, yell at you, tell you this is not Candyland, and the kiddie pool's down and all that. So we'll have some fun. So let's plan on whoever's out there. Let's see each other in person next year when the law allows, the time allows, and the climate of COVID allows.
There you go. All right, folks, we will see you on the next broadcast. Make it a great day.
I'm clicking off.
No, don't click off. You stay there.
I'm staying here.